I bought the 2021 Yamaha XSR700. No, I didn't sell my Himalayan. I'm selling my MT-07. Yes, the MT-07 that I replaced my Interceptor with. Let me tell you why. If you're new here, my name is Aaron Palabiab. This channel is called Ride XP, and people mostly know me for riding Royal Enfields and entry-level adventure bikes. Which is why it came as a surprise to some, an unwelcome one at that I replaced my beloved Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 with said Yamaha MT-07. It was a bike seen by a few of you as having quote-unquote no character. The Interceptor does have one of the sweetest sounding, most usable engines. But that MT-07 with that 689cc liquid-cooled CP2 engine, it's no Honda NX500. It's raunchy, it sounds amazing with a good pipe. And it manages to be both one of the most fun and reliable engines ever made. In other words, it does have character. It's rowdy, it's torquey as hell. It's the favorite of hooligans everywhere. In fact, I think the MT-07 has been described correctly as a great engine with a cheap bike on it. The suspension sucks, the throttle is jerky, and the brakes are just okay. Basically, it requires all of your skill and attention to ride really well, where a better bike would take care of you with better components and electronics. So, why in the world would I replace the MT-07 with a bike that is 95 or more % the same bike, just in a different costume? And why the XSR700 and not a different retro bike? Before I get into that, I have something new today. I have a sponsor read. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is my go-to place when I need a structured, high-quality class taught by creatives and entrepreneurs that I admire. As a member, you will get unlimited access to classes on everything: art and illustration, design, photography, filmmaking, you name it. I would recommend, for example, Ali Abdal's Notion Masterclass. As a scatterbrained creative who often feels overwhelmed with having to learn a new piece of software, I found that that was just what I needed. I also host my own classes there, like From Clueless to Content Creator, which covers everything you need to get started. And I also just released Kickstart Your YouTube Career, which I designed to help aspiring creators cultivate their passion in order to build some momentum on YouTube. And I think one of the best parts about Skillshare is that you can submit class projects and get direct feedback from teachers like me. So to explore any class you want, click on the link in the description or pinned comment below for a 30-day free trial. Clicking the link and/or taking my classes is also one of the best ways to directly support this channel. Big thanks to Skillshare for supporting the channel, and honestly, for being such a pleasure to work with over the past 4 years that I've been making classes for Skillshare. Back to the question, why the XSR700? Well, first, we have to take into account that I already own a Himalayan 450, a Vespa Primavera 150, and the Honda CRF 150L. So, I've got my adventure tourer, my daily commuter, and my dirt bike. The only thing missing is a fun road bike, which is why I got the MT-07. And honestly, I've been pretty happy with it. It's powerful, but it's slim and only 184 kilos wet, making it a perfect highway legal daily driver. Engine heat management is one of the best, if not the best in this class. The price was right, and the ownership has been drama-free. I even did one big tour on it and found it pretty comfortable. But over the year that I owned it, I guess circumstances conspired to change my mind. The big thing was getting a long-term loaner of the second-gen Ducati Scrambler full throttle. Now, that bike has virtually the same power as the MT-07, but in a much better all-around package. The Scrambler is better looking, smaller, lighter, and most of all, much more rideable than the MT-07. The smooth throttle, good suspension, traction control, and Brembo brakes combine for a buttery smooth Ride XP. I felt that in nearly every way, that bike fit my personality, my riding style, and my aesthetic the most of any bike that I'd ever tried. Riding the Scrambler made me realize that how my bike looks really matters to me. I tried to fight it, but I have to admit that I am kind of a dirty hipster, the very target market of the Ducati Scrambler. So, why didn't I buy the Scrambler? Well, it ain't that deep. The first main reason is the price. 790,000 pesos for that top-of-the-line full throttle was just a bit too much to ask. And honestly, even the standard version at 670,000 pesos. You may be surprised to hear, but I'm not at the point in my life where I can happily shoulder the Ducati tax with Desmo service on top. I mean, it's an awesome bike and you just have to pay for it. So, enter the XSR700. You can pick up an XSR700 used for less than 400,000 pesos. Or brand new for still much less than a Ducati Scrambler at 539,000 pesos. Which is, for me, too much. Come on, Yamaha. But anyway, again, between those two bikes, you get the same power and arguably quite a comparable retro look. With the Yamaha, you get a bike that you can be assured will run reliably, not for tens of thousands of kilometers, but for hundreds of thousands of miles. So, all that said then, why not another retro bike? I could get a brand new Kawasaki Z900 RS for less than the price of a base model Ducati Scrambler. For that, you would get over 100 horsepower and almost 100 Newton meters of torque pumped out by one of the sweetest sounding inline-4 engines. Or I could go the opposite direction and go authentically retro and get that amazing 249 edition of the Royal Enfield Bear 650 for 459,000 pesos. Now, for me, the Bear 650 is the best looking, best value retro bike on the market today, and it is also a Scrambler, so you could sort of take it off-road. Well, of course I thought about all that, and for the Z900 RS, it's just too much bike. It's a muscle bike pretending to be a retro, a thug in a suit, as Freddie Dobbs called it. The Bear, on the other hand, well, I haven't had the chance to ride it because it didn't invite me to the media launch. But, you know, being familiar, very familiar with that platform from the Interceptor that I used to own, I already know I sold that bike because at this point in my life, I just really like having 70 horsepower. And I have my Hemi to fulfill my need for Royal Enfield character. I mean, we'll see if my opinion changes if I get some meaningful time on the Bear, but I don't think it's going to change that much. In other words, the XSR700 comes closest to giving me that it fits me just right feeling that I had on the Ducati Scrambler at a much lower price, while giving me reliability that no Euro bike can touch. I also realized that deep down inside, I wish that I could handle a T7 as my one bike instead of having 3 different bikes to fulfill that role. But let's be honest, I'm too short of inseam, of skill, and of willingness to wrestle with a bike like the T7. So at least with the XSR, I get to have a bike with that same engine in a form that I can actually deal with on a daily basis. So basically, when Martin told me he was ready to move on from the XSR, and knowing his impeccable taste in mods and his obsessive care for his bikes, I couldn't let that opportunity pass. Not only did I get a great deal on the bike, but I'm getting a bike that has already been a faithful riding companion for the past few years. And my MT-07 is still for sale. Please take it off my hands. 300,000 pesos negotiable. It's Woolwich tuned. The forks are upgraded. Lots of thoughtful mods. Just message me on Instagram or Facebook. In the end, as another riding buddy once put it, if you tell me that you don't care about how your motorcycle looks, you're lying. Turns out it really does matter significantly. And the joy I get from riding the XSR is definitely more than I got from the MT-07, despite them being basically the same bike underneath. I just want to ride it all the time, and that's what you want from a bike. I suppose if I had to make an analogy, it's sort of like the difference between wearing a mechanical watch like this and an Apple Watch. I mean, they do the same thing. But why does it feel so different? The little things matter. It's these intangible things, especially in retro gear, retro bikes, retro everything. They're what allow us to imbue these inanimate machines with soul, especially in a day and age where it feels like we're increasingly surrendering our humanity to automation, to AI. And so these little things like a freaking round headlight, they, I guess, keep us grounded. They fire up our imaginations too and make life feel a little less ordinary. And in the end, isn't that what we ride motorcycles for? Hey, and that's it. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this little garage update. Oh, one more thing. I want you to know that I actually shot one motovlog with the MT-07, the one where I went to the highest point of the Philippine highway system with it, with my friends. Let me know in the comments if you actually want to see that, and I'll cut it together for you. With that, thanks for watching. Peace.